There's different ways that a person can become an architect. The first one is to go through what I call the School of Hard Knocks. So basically, you practice architecture, you work under an architect for 8 years. And this architect will be able to sign you off to take the professional licensing exam. Of course, it's not guaranteed that you're capable of passing all the exams if you don't have formal training. The second way of becoming an architect is that you get a degree from an accredited institution where you are able to start taking the exams shortly after graduation. However, if you would pass the exam within the first year or so after graduation, you cannot be licensed for at least 3 years until you have completed the internship requirements to become an architect. So the professional degree, there's different ways to get that. There is a 5-year degree, and then there is a 4-year Bachelor of Arts plus a master's degree, which amounts to about 7 years of education. But that degree, either way, will help you develop so that you can qualify to take the professional licensing exam. And then after you pass the professional licensing exam, then you are required to take, at least in the state of California, a section which covers the California requirements. And after that, you are a licensed architect, licensed to practice architecture. The profession of architecture is very demanding. I often joke that with the amount of education that I have right now, I could be an MD. So, it's really a labor of love. You got to really love the profession. But I really think that no matter what you do in life, you're going to have to be committed anyway. Whether you want to be a photographer or you want to be a pilot or you want to be an architect or a CPA or a doctor, no matter what you want to do, you're going to have to be committed and not worry about the time. You're going to have to be prepared. So I think that it is really, really important that you consider that if you're going to become an architect, that it is a career that requires a long time life of learning. You're always learning, even as you grow old into the profession. You're always learning because the profession's always evolving. So that's probably the most important thing to consider before you become an architect. I think that probably the biggest thing was how this profession is driven by the economy of the United States. Depending on how good the economy is doing, it's feast or famine. When I graduated from the University of Washington, there was a sign south of the city of Seattle that said, last one out, turn off the lights. True story, look it up. Down by Tacoma, that billboard was there and everybody was leaving the state in droves of people because there was no work. When I started school at the University of Washington, we were in recession and the country was in recession, and by the time I graduated, we were barely getting out of it. I ended up leaving the state and headed south to California, where there was a lot of work at the time. And it really took a good decade and a half for the state of Washington to fully recover. Once Microsoft and some of the other computer companies moved in, the economy began to thrive. But for me, it was too late to go back. So I stayed in the state of California. But, I'm just giving an example where regionally, it really, really was a factor that influenced my career. Different regions of the United States could also affect it. State of Texas, the Southwest, the Southeast, the Northwest and Northeast, the central part of the United States, the economies are very, very different. So depending on what line of work you want to go into, what style of architecture, what you want to focus on, what you want to design, that's something to be kept in mind. That was probably the biggest thing that caught me off guard when I graduated from the University of Washington to become an architect.